Pope Francis was taken to the hospital just hours after attending his weekly general audience. There was a hint that all was not well when he was seen grimacing as he was helped into the Pope-mobile. Tests revealing the 86-year-old pontiff has a respiratory infection, according to a Vatican spokesman, that while not COVID, will require several days of medical therapy, adding that the Pope is touched by the many messages received and expresses his gratitude for the closeness and prayers. President Biden, whose Catholic faith is an important part of his life, calls the Pope a dear friend.
The Pope is ill now, so say an extra prayer for him.
The Vatican at first saying a medical checkup had been scheduled, but Italian media questioned that, reporting that a TV interview with the Pope was cancelled at the last moment. The Pope's health has not been robust. He used a wheelchair for over a year, as on his recent trip to Africa. However, more recently, he's been walking with a cane. When he was young, he had part of a lung removed due to severe pneumonia, and less than 2 years ago, he underwent major intestinal surgery to also remove part of his colon. Answering a question earlier this month on what health condition could lead him to step down, he said, "A tiredness that doesn't let you see things clearly."
It seems like the Pope had a good night.
NBC Vatican analyst Deborah Lubov saw the Pope earlier this month, where he blessed her 1-year-old son.
You never would have thought that there was any health issue whatsoever. He was so joyful.
This illness comes at one of the busiest times in the papal calendar, Holy Week. Pope Francis due to celebrate Palm Sunday this weekend. Easter Sunday, less than 2 weeks away. Earlier this month, Pope Francis celebrated his 10th anniversary as pontiff. This morning, prayers, including in his home country of Argentina, for his swift recovery. Hard to believe, isn't it, Hoda, that it was a decade ago that we were here in Rome to see Pope Francis become Pope. Now, this morning, 1.4 billion Catholics around the world and many others of other faiths breathing something of a sigh of relief, Hoda.
I was going to say, Keir Simmons, thank you so much. It's good to have some good news this morning that he ate, he read the paper, so he
managed to get to prayers.
Yes, he did it.
Let us bring in NBC's senior medical correspondent, Dr. John Torres. So, Dr. John, I mean, he's 86 years old. They've ruled out COVID, but I guess they did remove a piece of his lung when he was younger. What does all of this mean for someone his age, a respiratory infection?
And Craig, typically what it means is that he doesn't have quite the reserves that somebody who would have a full lung, who didn't have that pneumonia when he was a teenager and isn't his age right now. And so he is battling this lung infection, which is more than likely a pulmonary type of infection, a bacterial infection that requires antibiotics, that requires possibly oxygen therapy as well. And so this is a kind of condition that at his age, it can be a critical condition. And I think that's why they have him in the hospital, just to treat him and to also monitor him, Craig.
Yeah, we know that he's robust and that he had some good indicators this morning, but I'm sure every doctor is looking at the risk factors. So what are they looking at as possible complications?
So the biggest complication looking at right now, this infection worsening and actually turning into sepsis, which is a life-threatening condition. And so they want to make sure that doesn't happen. They want to get antibiotics on as early as possible and then continue to monitor him with the tests that we do to make sure he doesn't develop sepsis, which is that blood-type infection. And if he does, to treat that as aggressively as possible. The greatest news is that this morning that he is actually improving and he is able to get some work done and was able to attend services. And so that's fantastic news that he is able to do that, because at his age, that improvement could be slower than usual.
Great news indeed. Dr. Torres, Dr. John, thank you.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.